Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you are new here, I'm Choma Vanessa and I film about faith, lifestyle, vlogs, and motherhood. Please subscribe to my channel. Turn on notification bell as well so that you'll be notified when I upload a new video. And don't forget to like, share, comment. Just engage with my content. Engage with it. Returning subscribers, thank you so much for always coming back. Whew. Today, I'm sitting on the floor. Like you can see, I'm seated on the floor. Because I just want to be as free as possible, as real as possible. I want to just bear my mind. I want to tell my story. I'm hoping I don't shed it here. Now, this is my adorable daughter. I just have to show you her because you might be hearing noise or sounds. Whew. Without further ado, let's jump right into the video. So last year, June 17th or 16th, if I'm to remember very well, it was a Father's Day. I tested positive and I was like, whoa, it was a Sunday. Okay, so it was on a Sunday. Then on Monday, I went to the hospital to do the official, blood draw and then get me tested. And the whole test went on and I was fine, apart from the fact that the doctor said my blood was a bit low. But then, yeah, I actually did test positive and all of that. And I was given my routine drugs to start with and all of that. So everything just worked the way it was supposed to work, like every normal pregnant woman that goes to the hospital to confirm, right? Afterwards, I now, I was fine. Then when I got to my 5th week, apparently I tested my 4th week now. Like, the 4th week is like a 4th cycle where you're supposed to see a period and you don't see a period. So on the 5th week, on a particular day, I think I was doing something in the house and I realized that I felt like a gush. And it was actually blood. I spilled and I was wondering what exactly is going on at this moment. You get, so it wasn't really funny. It was actually very scary. I think that was my first miscarriage scare. I actually went to cry. I had to cry to my husband. It wasn't like funny at all, but I mean, thinking about it now, it just sounds like a hair. Anyways, I had to just tell myself that, I needed to be on bed rest. My husband actually also enforced it, like, don't do anything, just go lie down on the bed. Then the next day I was calm, like it was better. I feel it was just like spotting. Yes, I was just spotting. The next day I was calm, I got better. Then the following day I dried up completely. It wasn't like as if I was bleeding. I was just spurting, more like I just feel little drops of blood here and there. And I was doing my research and I felt like, okay, this should be implantation bleeding. No qualms, no problem. Oh, we're good, we're fine. Little did I know that in my 8th week, I was going to see another one. So you guys, you need to accommodate my everyday booty. Because she was already making that her sound. So I had to carry her. Okay, guys. At the end of it all, I started bleeding again at 7th week. I can remember very well. Yes, 7th week. And this time, it wasn't like the last one I saw in my 5th week that was like a brown stain that made me believe that it was implantation bleeding. This time around, it was red, fresh blood. That was another miscarriage scare. I was so scared and unrestful. I was literally crying and I was like, God, I don't want to lose my baby and all of that stuff. Immediately, my husband was around, thankfully, so we rushed to the hospital. On getting to the hospital, I was placed on bed rest. I was admitted instantly. They gave me some injections and all of that. Oh my God, it wasn't an interesting time for me at that period. I mean, the seventh and eighth week was tough because prior to that time, I was telling my husband that I don't even feel pregnant. Like, why am I just normal? I'm just okay. You know, when you do hear that, when you get pregnant, you will start doing this, you start doing that, you will start, these are the signs to know you're pregnant. And I'm like, why am I not seeing those signs? Sometimes I'm like, gosh, should I test again to be sure? I had this feeling of doom, such that I started telling myself that, oh, I hope this baby's alive. I hope everything is all right. I hope he or she is fine. Because I started seeing bad news coming towards my direction at the time. I mean, when I mean bad news, I mean people saying, oh, they went for scan and they said they did not see heartbeats and all of that gist. And they cannot necessarily see. I think a viable baby should be when there's a heartbeat, right? And I think it's from 7th week, something like that, I guess so. You guys, when I went to the hospital and I was admitted, I had to go in for a scan, and they were just, it was more scary because they're like, okay, they can see that there is a sac. So, but then, it's just a sac. There's no embryo in there yet. There is no heartbeat. So even the doctor told me to, like, after they discharged me 3 days later, that they wouldn't want to flush it, because ordinarily they would have felt like, okay, since you're already bleeding, and I was bleeding for those 3 days. Even when I was discharged, I was still bleeding, but not that serious as like the first one. So, they would have already felt like, okay, she would lose the baby completely, and okay, let's flush it. But I'm thankful that the doctor did not think that direction. I mean, he thought that direction and decided to, like, let him wait it out. And then even this man was even going to register me for antenatal and all of that. He just felt like, okay, let's just wait it out after your first trimester. More like he's not sure my baby was going to survive. That's how bad it was. The second doctor that was there safe, that one gave up already. He gave up. He just felt like, for it to be bleeding this much, the baby was going to come out. I had to make research again, and it was more scary on YouTube. People saying that, oh, they were bleeding and they rushed to the hospital, and afterwards they did not see the heartbeat and all those G's. So I'm like, God, it's not my portion. I was praying, I was scared, I was everything. Anyways, they told me to come back 8 weeks in my 8th week. Hopefully, they were thinking that, okay, before 8 weeks, the baby would have washed out completely. In fact, the doctor specifically told me that if I see something thick that comes out together with the blood, I should tell him. And I know what that means, but then God was faithful. No thick nonsense gave. Anyways, it was a tough time, really, but I'm grateful that I can smile it out right now, and I have my princess here. Like, it's just, anyways. So at 8th week, I just went straight for scan. I didn't want to see the doctor. And then I saw another person there, the sonographer, a lady, and she was like, okay, no problem. Then I was like, okay, so what's the result? No, more like, they don't really give result, they'll just give it to you. Doctor will interpret it, right? Me, I used to open it and read though. Anyways, she just said that she can see a heartbeat. Oh, more. That was the first time, because I don't know when scan can pick heartbeat, but that was when she picked a heartbeat, and she was like, oh, she can see a heartbeat. And I was like, wow. My husband was there too, and he was like, you serious? She was like, oh yes, I can. He was like, okay, so what's the state of the baby? What's still of pregnancy? And she was like, oh, everything is fine. I think the only issue here is, Cora, you're kicking my I think the only issue here is that it is threatened. And we're like, threatened, how do you mean? She said, you're having threatened abortion. More like, it's the sac is weak, that she can see blood around it, blah blah blah. So that wasn't really like a serious confirmation that I was going to carry through, right, because of what she said. But then she wanted my doctor to interpret it, and she was like, okay, I can just go with the results. Anyways, I went with the results, and Doctor was like, oh, I think the doctor was a bit satisfied. I mean, to some extent, at least they saw a heartbeat. It means that there is life, and they can try as much as possible to stop anything that is like any threatened abortion, right? As long as it is viable. He just wanted to be sure it was viable. So after that, guys, hey, Korea. So after that, I was placed on serious drugs. You see I'm not feeling anything. No, I don't even know. Am I sure I'm pregnant? Why am I not feeling? Everything came in that hospital. I started having bitter tongue. I started perceiving things. I started having loss of appetite. Like the drugs that they gave me was making me to throw up. In fact, it wasn't just funny, but I'm grateful I had help. My mom came around, my aunts came around, my mom-in-law came around. Like they came around at different times just to like help out. It wasn't just funny anyways, but I'm just grateful that God came through. So when I thought that everything was over, I came back home and then I stopped bleeding. And then this stopping of bleeding wasn't like it was like it just stopped. I can wake up in the night and I might just see small. Then maybe 2 days time in the morning I might see small. Maybe 3 days time in the afternoon I can see small, like small blood spill. So it was just very scary, all true. It was just very scary. So I had several miscarriage scares. Hey baby, what do you want? Okay, so I had several miscarriage scares, but then it got better because I didn't experience the whole gushing again till I got to my 16th week. I think, and that 16th week means I've entered my second trimester, right? When I was thinking everything was now fine, even though I was having some symptoms like lower back pain, lower abdominal pain, and all of that, but at least it's still signs of pregnancy to a good number of women, right? And that's not really like a bad sign, but we see that blood, it's a bad sign, really bad sign. In my 16th week, I started contracting. It was that bad. Alright, where are you going to? I was contracting. I went to the hospital again. I was admitted again, and I was given injections, drugs, all of that. They checked for the scan, and the scan showed that I was fine because it was no longer threatened. I mean, the sac was no longer threatened. And most times they say when you pass your first trimester, it's always your chances are always higher. I mean, your chances of retaining the pregnancy is always higher. So I guess that was it for me, Cora. Wow. Okay, so I guess that after my my first trimester, they felt like my chances were high. They did a scan and it was like, okay, everything is still fine, but why are you bleeding? They actually did what they could do to stop the bleeding and just so that it doesn't result to. Okay, let me hope I did not miss my third line because I just wanted to settle Cora, but now I think we are good. She's sleeping. Yeah, where did I stop? Okay, I was still in the hospital. Then I was discharged after a few days, and I was strictly told to be on bed rest. I mean, even myself, I knew I was going to be on bed rest because I wasn't really feeling myself at that time, and I was like, God, please, I've not even gotten to half of the journey. God, please. The doctor was like, don't worry, that I should just take my drug and rest and not do much. So you can imagine, like the way I'm explaining to you, from the very beginning of the first time I went to the hospital at 6 weeks up till that time, I was still not stable. I was told not to do anything. I was told to be on bed rest. I mean, I thought that okay, I was going to have a life, like I was going to do things. I was going to, but apparently everything came on hold. But that's it on there. After that, I started getting myself. Second trimester was second trimester rain, and it was making sense. I was catching my glow, was coming, and all of that. But I was still very careful. But I was able to cook dishes I liked because at that time, the first trimester awful smell and all of that had weared off. So I was able to cook what I liked. I was able to eat what I liked. I didn't have cravings though, but yeah, I like the fact that I could cook my own food because I've had people come to cook for me, my mom, my mom-in-law, my aunt. So I wanted to like feel my own food in the pregnancy, and that was it for me. Afterwards, you guys, hey, oops, light has gone. Okay, so the light has gone. I guess my face is still bright, so we can just continue. Um, I was now like enjoying my second trimester. I mean, that was the period I was able to hang out with my husband. Yes, I have pictures of that. That was when I was able to, document one or two. That was when I was able to like just be myself and all of that. I was able to go to church, but I was still taking it easy though. Then guys, guess what? Guess what? At my 26th week. Actually, before then, I'd now known the gender of my baby. I could now refer to her as her. I could pray directly now with her and all of that. Like, I'm praying and mentioning she, her, and all of that. 26 weeks, I had another miscarriage. Another at 26 week, I had another miscarriage scare, and I just started bleeding again. Gosh, this was even funny at all because I was like, what's going on really? Like, what's going on? It was painful. I went to the hospital. They said I was contracting again. I was placed on bed rest. I was placed on drip. I was placed on injections, drugs. And at that point, I was like, God, you need to help me. Help me, help my child. I don't want my child to come out deformed. I don't want her to come out with any kind of scar. I don't want anything because, man, they say when you're pregnant is the time that you should avoid drugs and all of that because, we don't know the kind of drug that might trigger the pregnancy or that might affect the baby or that might be that the baby might not want and all of that. Even though I know that yes, medicine has gone higher these days that they now know how to do research on which works for pregnant women and not. But then I was still scared. I was like, God, I don't want any trouble. I don't want anything at all. I want my baby to come out whole. I want her to come out perfect. I was just scared. The doctor, on the other hand, was just looking and it was like, you're contracting. We're going to stop the contraction and we're going to make sure that you can at least carry this baby to 30 weeks. You guys, if you hear me well, the doctor is saying he's going to try his best to see if I can carry this baby to at least 30 weeks. I'm like, good, you are not man, so you need to step up for me. Because if this doctor is not even, he was even telling my husband that don't worry, the baby will survive, that he removed one baby recently and he moved one baby 28 weeks and the baby stayed in the incubator for about 2-3 months and then he's fine. He was very tiny when he went home, but now if you see the boy, he's now a big boy. I'm like, gosh, it's not gonna be my portion. I'm not doing any premature delivery. God, please help me. But one thing I still trusted God for was that I knew that this was a journey, and I also knew that I was going to draw inspiration from this journey. I drew a lot of inspiration from this journey, and one of those inspirations is as well as is also making content out of my pregnancy journey, like um speaking out. Yes, like I know that in fact just the fact that I had to put to bed and I announced my pregnancy and I started giving some short write-ups about my pregnancy journey, not even on YouTube, like probably on my WhatsApp status on Instablog and Instagram. I mean I see people come to my inbox to confide in me and tell me, oh, I just want to test my pregnancy. I'm pregnant. I'm second trimester going. I mean, these are things that ordinarily people don't really share, but I found out that they saw me as someone they could share to, and I understand that it's coming from a place of, oh, she's sharing her story to encourage us. Why can't I confide in her to get 1 or 2 tips? And that for me is grand, right? So I drew a lot of inspiration from this journey. I learned to trust God. Okay, so eventually I had to stay in the hospital till they felt I was more stable. I was no longer bleeding. I was now much stable. The doctor was still a bit scared, but it was like he just prayed I carried to 30 weeks, because at 30 weeks they can comfortably put the baby in incubator, and they will not be scared of any issues, because according to them they feel like some major places in the baby had developed and all of that. Okay, so I finally was discharged and I was happy about that. And that was about December, and I had to do, in fact, I had to do my photo shoot at the time. I think I was about 32 weeks. I had to go for my photo shoot. I enjoyed my Christmas. I was still taking it very easy. My mom even came over for Christmas to also help me so that, I take my rest and all of that. You guys, January 4th. I mean, I said Happy New Year and I was really happy. I was intentional about my January because I knew that my baby was going to come February or late January. So I was intentional about that year. This year, 2023, I was doing Thanksgiving every day, like, doing Thanksgiving every day. My birthday was also going to be on the 31st. So I wanted to do Thanksgiving till my birthday. I just appreciate God and be thankful for the very little things. I started it on the first, second, third. On the fourth, early in the morning, I woke up to have my quiet time. Like I was praying, and I felt a gush, and I'm like, okay, what's going on? And I checked, and I saw I was bleeding again. I was crying this time because I'm like, my baby is 32 weeks at this moment, and uh, I'm not saying my baby cannot survive, but I'm going to spend a lot of time in the hospital, in the incubator, for my baby to be fine. And the emotional stress it will come with is better for me to carry this baby in my womb and struggle for that long than to go through all the back and forths. But then we called our doctor immediately, and that was about 6 a.m. or so. And then he was like, oh, rush down, rush down. That was his word, rush down. Immediately we came, they were preparing the theater, you guys. They were preparing the theater. They were preparing the theater to bring out my baby, because they were like, if this baby dies now, we've lost, because you carried for whole 32 weeks. We can try and maintain the baby in the incubator for about 8 weeks, and then the baby will come out fine. And they're sure that people do that, people do that. I was in the hospital. I'd already told myself that, okay, if they feel like this is the best that would work for me, why not? I'll just leave it that way. My husband was like, okay, no problem. They were preparing the theater. They got me my stuff. I was just like hoping. I was just lying on bed. I was praying as well. Everybody around me, I mean my mom-in-law, my family member just felt like, okay, the baby will come out now, and we just hope that everything works out fine and the baby survives in the incubator. That was about the worst. But then God came through again. I don't know how it happened, but I just knew that He came through. I was just I was asking the doctor that, am I going to be fine? Is this baby going to be fine? What exactly is the issue? And he was like, they just want both of us to be fine. They don't want this a case where it will become risky, that I'll be at risk and the baby will be at risk. So the best thing is to remove the baby. So, but before then, when they finished preparing us. So I don't know. I felt it was just God that just told the doctor to just hold on. He told the matron to come and ask me to come and check my bleeding level, and they told me to change a new pad so that they could check my bleeding level and weight. You guys, I was bleeding, but when the matron said I should change so that they can weigh it or one thing to just see how much I'm losing, I changed and I was no longer bleeding. Like, I feel like that was just good. They came, she was like, she was going to watch it for an hour. She came 1 hour, there was nothing. She came 2 hours, there was nothing. And it was just like a drop or so. So she now said the doctor is calling me. I went back to the doctor's office, and then they did a scan, and it was like, okay, he thinks it was just a shift of the placenta, that the baby is still fine. The baby is fine inside. Yes, the baby is fine. The water level is okay. Everything is okay. But then it's not going to release me because he saw it was fine, but he was like, but you just bled this morning, and it's risky. The doctor said they cannot release me. So that was January 4th, you guys. January 4th, I delivered on January 31st. I was in the hospital till January 28th. You guys, it was that serious. I was in the hospital till then. So imagine, I'm not even talking about the whole expenses, the hospital bill, everything was spent. I'm not even talking about that one at this moment. I'm talking about how a human being like me, I was handicapped. I was away from my house. My husband was super stressed, but man, that guy had grace because he was super stressed. His work, you know, combining me, his work, and that was the reason why I had family support as well. My mother-in-law was coming to help out. My mom was coming to help out. My aunt. So that period when I was in the hospital, my mom had not gone because she came for Christmas, but she had to go because she had to go back to work, right? As she was going, my aunt came. So my aunt stayed till I put to bed. I was in that hospital. But I think after like 1 week, I was fine. But the doctor wasn't still sure. The doctor was trying to be on the safe side, I guess. So he didn't want the situation whereby it would be risky and he doesn't want stories. I was like trying to say that I think I'm fine. After all, my house is not so far from the hospital. I don't know what he told my husband. My husband was like, I just need to stay. And again, I'm like, if I go and anything happen, they will blame me that you didn't stay. So you see, you lost the baby. So I'm like, okay, to be on the safe side, I had to stay in that hospital. You know what it looks like staying in hospital, Nigerian hospital. I don't want to know, no matter how touchy the hospital is. And then the next time they checked again, they said that the baby was still fine, doing well. She had turned head down, but I do have series of contractions. That's the issue. So they just wanted me to be on bed rest. They felt like if they discharged me, my hand would still scratch me to enter my kitchen, and that's the truth. I would still want to do one or two things, but as I was in the hospital, I was just handicapped. Where do I want to go to? I was on the bed, and they felt like if I have to take that rest, it will help me to help my baby. So that was why I was there from January 4th all through to January 28th, and then they wanted to like even tell me to put to bed that day, like since they felt like I was already 36 weeks. Because the doctor said once I'm 36 weeks, 35 weeks, we're going to bring out the baby. But then I was fine 35 weeks, and I was like, let's just wait for the normal 36 week. Like from 36 weeks, baby can survive outside the incubator. Baby is fine, does not need any aid to survive. So we were like, okay, 36 weeks, it's fine, it's fine. And then that's when he ate. I just begged him that, please, can I go home? Because I need to do my packing. Like, they can pack for you. I'm like, I just want to do my own packing myself. And I think that's the video you saw last week or so when I was showing what was in my hospital bag. If you have not watched it, I'll drop the link in the description box and in the pinned comment section for you to watch the video when I was a video of what I packed in my hospital bag. So I told him I wanted to go and pack myself. I just didn't know what to. So they were like, okay, you can go, you're fine. Come back on Monday. So I packed, and then my baby came. I mean, that morning of my CS, I started contracting again. You know this contraction that comes and goes. It started in the morning. I remember in the theater before I was knocked off with the anesthesia. The doctor touched my tummy. I'm like, ah. He looked at one of the matron, the nurse, and said, ah, she's contracting. So they sure did what they did, and I saw my bundle of joy with me. My baby was here. I kind of feel like the whole experience of 9 months, I'm just summarizing in how many minutes. Like, because it was tough. It was the longest 9 months of my life. It was so slow. It came with I was on hold. My life was literally on hold. Sometimes I question my existence, and I'm like, okay, so what am I doing? I mean, what am I doing with my life? But I'm thankful to God for the husband He gave me, because He's always telling me that, look, your priority right now is your baby. I know you want to do all those big stuff, you want to do this, but I want you to know that this is your priority. And this is what God has placed in you to nurture. And I knew that was the awesome truth. And I had to give you my best. Yes. And so now Cora is here, and she's still my priority. Yay! You guys met my baby last week, and if you have not met her, I'll still drop the link for you to meet her. And that's it on that. Thank you so much for staying true. Thank you for watching. I'm surprised I was smiling all through. I mean, I thought I legit thought I was gonna cry if I come on. I legit thought that I wouldn't be able to speak out. Like, I really thought that I wasn't gonna speak out. But I'm so happy that I was able to do this. Wow. Yes, I did it. Okay, thank you so much for staying true. Please subscribe if you've not subscribed to this channel. Thank you. Bye.